Greetings, New Earth family. Athalia here with Power Lightwork. Power Lightwork is a service project that's assisting light workers on their ascension path to New Earth in a unity consciousness experience, or sometimes it's called heart consciousness. How are you all feeling? I hope that you all are doing well. Returning subscribers, thank you so much for your continuous support of this channel, and for those who are new, welcome. I hope that you find this content helpful on your journey and as you continue on your path. For more information on my service work and me, please go to powerlightwork.com. I am in a public space recording, so if there are any noises that you hear, planes, trains, what have you, we're just going to continue to just kind of move through it. So thank you for your patience and thank you for your tolerance. I'm so excited to move into this video today, talking about New Earth relationships and what's taking place with the current dynamic. As I'm recording this, it is June 14th, 2023. And we have so many changes and challenges and things and themes around the relationship dynamic that are kind of starting to resurface now, if they haven't already, and it's going to be with us, these themes, for the rest of the year, in terms of shifts in relationship and changes in relationship. And why is this happening? We have to understand where relationships are trying to grow from, so that we can then come into the knowledge of what they're trying to grow into. So most of the third dimension is, we wouldn't have it without relationships. Any relationship of any kind is integral to the third dimension's function. And how we understood relationships to be, or how relationships were modeled to us, is the way that we tend to approach our relationship. And that's our relationship with ourselves, and that's relationship to another. How we saw relationships happen within the home or the environment that we grew up in, and the people that were modeling those relationships to us, we are so programmed to end up following in those footsteps. And within the spiritual community, New Earth family, you'll hear a lot about this topic of wounded masculine or toxic masculine, and how the sacred feminine or divine feminine is coming online, and it's been coming online very strongly since February 2022. Well, these are the creation energies within us, in which we are able to express ourselves and to create out here. When we talk about this idea of a creator, or of a God, or of source, or of the universe, it's both of those energies needed to create, in light and in shadow, in creation, in destruction, right? It's both of them. So what has taken place with our relationships is that in the third dimension, is that they've just gotten incredibly imbalanced over a long period of time. And this was necessary in order for us to be a match for a third dimensional experience. Those of us who are moving from the old world, it was necessary. The disharmony or disconnection or separation that we are taught in the relationship dynamic as a result of having those polarities pull apart, or one being wounded, or one being attacked, or whatever trauma takes place with us when we are young, that is how we relate to the third dimension. It ends up being in a separated state. It ends up being from a place of disharmony, so our soul can have the experience that it needs, and through relationship learn the lessons that it needs. But the point of it is to eventually come back into harmony. There was never any intention for us to stay separated and in disconnection forever. And that's the good news about what's taking place now with our evolution and being here during an ascension cycle, is that now is the time to evolve our relationships. If we are going to evolve as individuals, our relationships have to evolve too, okay? So how is this happening? So many light workers have had so many challenges in the traditional relationship dynamic, and it really started to come online and happen with the Pluto and Scorpio generation. So those of you who are millennials, those of you who are in your late 20s and 30s right now, maybe headed toward 40, it's been all on you. And the reason being is your generation has had the blueprint to say no to a lot of the dysfunctional, more conventional ways that we know are disserving in relationship, that we know we need to move away from. I know some in this generation that in terms of marriage or partnership, it's not even there's such a hesitancy in that area to commit, and the reason being is that's how the relationship dynamic, it must change, an end must come to it, right? And that generation has been pivotal in bringing it to an end. And as a result, it's been this exploration, right? You'll notice that a lot with the Pluto and Scorpio generation. It's a lot of exploration. It's a lot of playing around with polyamory or open relationships, or there is no judgment here whatsoever. And I don't mean to just label these things within the millennial or the Pluto and Scorpio generation either. I'm talking about examples, and I'm talking about ways that the current conventional relationship dynamic, specifically with partnerships or romantic relationships, is kind of getting a shakeup. But there's no judgment. It needs to take place in order to understand what are other options, what are other ways that we can approach or show up to partnership or relationship that doesn't cause us the same dysfunction and trauma that we experience when we are young. Okay, so that generation is really, really, really helping us understand that we do need to change. And so many of this generation as well are being activated by love and initiated by love within Soul Connection. And Soul Connection is also asking us that we approach relationships different. If you do identify as a twin flame or twin soul ascension partner, regardless of the label, if you've been activated by love, then your other has already asked you to be more balanced in union in the relationship with yourself, so you can experience relationship differently. And anyone in union with a counterpart on Soul Connection path, not only has your relationship with yourself changed and your relationship and how you show up in partnership to other changed, all of your relationships have changed. So this is by the means of how these things are taking place. And the average length of time that people are spending in terms of long-term relationships is only a couple of years. So everything is shifting, everything is changing. And as we move forward, there is a asking, okay, that not only do we do that balancing work within ourselves to reconnect within, to come into union within, to bring those energies in harmony, and we get to know our relationship to those energies really, really, really well. If you've done this work, you know what I'm talking about. You know your relationship to the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine like the back of your hand, and you know how they are yoked together, right? You know those details, right? And this process, like I said, it affects all of our external relationships. So that's a lot of what's going on right now, is if we are in union and we're connected and we're in balance with ourselves, then it becomes incredibly challenging to return to a former paradigm of relationship that's not that, right? So in the third dimension, a lot of us have this programming where there is this obligation, or we have values from social, cultural, could even be economic beliefs and religious beliefs, most definitely, that you have to stay in relationships, or you have to just keep them going just because, right? And I am not here to disprove anyone's values or belief systems regarding relationships. The whole point of this journey is for you to come to those conclusions and to the truth about relationships, to yourself and to others, within yourself, right? That's a part of the path, and that's a part of the work, and that's a lot of what's taking place right now. So only you can determine what is best for you in relationship. But I'll let you know what's kind of taking place. So the triggers are up. The triggers are up. And if you're on this path, you've come to know that your relationships, they're just mirrors. And they were in the third dimension. You just weren't aware of it. They're just always showing you what you have yet to connect to within you, what you have yet to heal within you. You and everything going on with you is going to attract that in relationship to another. And if you really pay attention to this, if you really start to, especially if you're in a soul connection, if you start to understand and really get into that mirroring effect, it's scary. It's you realize, oh my goodness, I created all of it. So if you created all of it in 3D from a point of separation, then you have the opportunity to create it all in the new story, in union. It just is a process of sorting out, rebalancing, and then being connected, and then allowing the space, which is now the space between stories, the space between worlds, whatever you like to call it within the spiritual community, however they're labeling this time, this grow time between the old and the new, is now is the time where we're having to just make hard decisions and tough choices and be in truth regarding our capacity and our capability to be in relationship with that which may not serve us anymore, or to be in relationship with that in which we are connected, but what we were in relationship was disconnected, because at the time we were, so we became a match for that. But we're connected now, or we're on our way to being connected. We're on our way to be balanced. So where do these relationships fit in terms of compatibility when you have these two experiences and these two stories going on? Do they fit together? That's for you to determine. Are they leading to your highest and best outcome? Are they aligned in intention and harmony in your action and where you're directing your energies and your life force on a daily basis to be able to support you in the experience, yes, your experience of the new timeline that you've intended for or asked for? Or are they taking you away from that? Are they distracting you from that? Are they asking you to direct your energies in opposition of that? These are the things that are going to come up if they haven't come up already. Same thing with the manner in which we have become used to or programmed to showing up in relationship. But we've done a lot of inner work. We're still getting our footing and understanding about what the outward function or the outward expression of being in relationship is. That's very uncertain. That is a match now for the inside. So if you're in soul connection and you're in union, then how you are approaching your physical partnership, if that is on the path for you in union, if it's resulted in a physical partnership, then if you're even for 1 second operating in an old mode or an old pattern that isn't in service of that connection and that union, it's going to come up. It's going to come up. So these are the things that we have to move through and to sort out. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. My story is not your story. Your story is your own. But I'm going to share just real quick, the challenges that I have had in relationship that have helped me understand something very, very key. And that's what I'm going to use to kind of wrap up this discussion is I have become estranged to my entire earthly family. After my mom passed 2 years ago, it became very clear and apparent in a very challenging, hard way that those relationships weren't going to be serving to me on the path to a new earth experience. The hardest thing about those lessons, and I am peacefully estranged, by the way, with a heart open, healed. There's no resistance or anything. There's even not any regret or a wishing that things would be different. I understand why what had to happen happened, and that's just my story. But we come to a place to where we realize that everybody can't come with us. Not only could my earthly family, in terms of the people that I grew up with, had to fall away, my children also, that is a big space of uncertainty. I've had to let my kids go, and that, as a mother, as you know, in that experience, that is the toughest, most challenging thing that I've had to do on this path. Is even your children, as a parent in the old relationship paradigm, depending upon the dynamics and depending on the current balance of relationship, even that relationship can be a hindrance to a new story or a new timeline or a new experience that is better serving. And now we're at the soul growth level. We are beyond the earthly level, but not to say that the earthly level still isn't so challenging and so hard and doesn't push you to your limits. But I'm supposed to have those experiences, because those experiences are going to be key in my ability to help others change their pain into their power and their wounding into their wisdom. That was a necessary experience for me, and I'm of the Pluto and Libra generation, so it's all about transformation with relationships, right? And understanding them differently, and actually having relationships be a part of our power here, right? So there's a space that I'm experiencing too, in terms of not even knowing or understanding how the new relationship paradigm is going to show up. I know it's not going to be what it was, and I know it's going to be something that's more in this realm of interdependence. So we're not in codependence, and we're not in independence. We're in interdependence. Codependence is I am incapable of choosing myself and standing on my own 2 feet and being in my true self, and I need someone else to give me purpose, and I need someone else to do anything, right? That's codependency. Independence, and it's operating out of fear. I'm scared of my true self, or standing in my true self, so I need someone else to do that. And then independence is I don't trust love, so I can only trust myself, so I have to be about myself, and I end up blocking off love, and I end up pushing love away, or I'm closed off to opportunities for connection and love. Both are out of fear, and they're both rooted in the same thing, scared to lose love, right? So we're going more to an interdependence model, to where you are in your true self and you're confident in that. You're confident in showing up to your passions. You know what your purpose is. You're in this divine partnership that enables you to be confident in showing up to yourself and to your light work, regardless of what's going on. However, there is space and there is room for that same experience with love and connection with you with another. And it's just more balanced. That's the new model. That's the new model. And we're headed toward that, but it's not easy, and it's hard, and it requires what seems to be in the third dimension sometimes sacrifice. But that's the last point that I want to end on before wrapping this up, is that you realize, New Earth family, that nothing is lost. Divine love can't be lost. My biggest lesson on my journey of relationships, and then just witnessing and understanding where we're moving to within the collective, and the reforming that's taking place with relationship, is connection in truth, in terms of love, divine love, and connection within you, that union between feminine and masculine within you, and your creative expression, and walk in that. It doesn't require a relationship. Now, that can sometimes seem incredibly lonely, right? At first, in this space between worlds. But I do trust, and this is where trusting in that internal divine partnership and in connection really, really, really is essential. I trust that the greater does want me to have an external relationship to others in a manner that is a match and that is best serving to my new story. And I'm trusting that. So that is the last piece, is that even though it seems like love is lost in the physical, and it is, and there's no way that love cannot be lost here on earth. We live and then we die in these bodies and in these temples, right? In terms of the material, death and rebirth, that's a cycle. If it's not lost in the material now, it's going to be lost in the material eventually. So then from that place, what is real? What is eternal? What is the love that never dies? And that's the love of the greater. And that's what you're attempting to try to embody more within you, with those polarities being in harmony and more in creative union, so you can partner with that with you first, and then allow, not force, control, or manipulate, like in the third dimension. You know, we have to be honest now in relationships. No masks. We have to be authentic now in relationships. We have to be willing to show up to them in an authentic way, okay? So it's just like, it's all these new experiences as a result of this shift within us, that we are so looking forward now to how this is going to play out with others, all right? I hope this content was helpful for you. Please leave me a comment. My email is powerlightwork@gmail.com. If you're on the path to rebalancing these masculine and feminine energies within yourself, in addition to trying to understand and gain greater clarity over what's happening in your relationship circumstances, and you need support, please book a session with me at powerlightwork.com. I'd be more than happy to help coach you through what's going on and provide insights and kind of take a look at what's taking place and help you best through it, okay? And until next time, New Earth family, all praise and all love. Bye-bye.